Hey, hold on one second.
Hey guys, I'm AB3 Hadamio from V2 Wrestling Gear, and you're watching the 70s.
95,000 tons. 4.5 acres of sovereign U.S. territory.
This ship is the tip of the spear.
Over 4,000 different stories.
We are Carl Vinson. We are Carl Vinson.
We are Carl Vinson.
We are Carl Vinson.
What's going on, Carl Vinson? I'm Petty Officer Zachary Bell, and welcome to a new episode of The 70. Living in San Diego, you pretty much know what you're going to get when it comes to the weather. At sea, there tends to be an added variable, or two, or 10. I sat down with a group of sailors who showed me hard proof that it's not always sunny on Carl Vinson. A great photo opportunity is shooting the meteorological department launching weather balloons. Now, that may make for a great picture, but it has also left them with the reputation that that's all they do. But aerographer's mate second-class Zach Crothers is here to tell you that's just a lot of hot air.
Everybody needs the weather. It plays a small part in so many different aspects of so many different missions. Just on the ship, we reach out, we touch intelligence, the bridge teams. The admiral gets weather, the CO gets weather. When he wakes up, he hears, "Good morning, sir, here's your weather."
It's nice to know whether you should be rolling up your coverall sleeves or if you'll be brushing water off your foul weather jacket. But determining the atmosphere goes even further than that.
Strike missions. What's the weather going to be when our airplanes reach their target? RASs. What are our Cs going to be doing when we're supposed to replenish at sea in a certain position? Should we change the position? Our transit. When we're crossing the ocean, we don't want to run right into a typhoon. So if there is some sort of weather system, how do we get around it? Where do we go? Where's the good weather going to be?
To find the answer to these equations, each member of the 14-sailor-strong department is a factor.
On a daily basis, we pretty much observe the hourly METOC conditions, and what myself and the other forecasters that work with me, we pretty much look at the atmospheric models and analyze those models and come up with a 4-day forecast and provide that to our warfare commanders.
Providing that information to our chain of command helps put together our operational puzzle.
Now, understanding our customer or our end user, the operators that we have on board here, helps us do that better. It helps us fine-tune that information to try to make it as usable as possible for them, ideally in a decision-making scenario. Do I do this or do I do that? And that should be a piece of the considerations that go into those kind of decisions.
Our Cs are still at 1 to 2 feet.
And when your job is something you enjoy, it makes the sun shine just a little bit brighter.
I love it. I lucked out getting the AG rate. I don't think that there's a better rate in the Navy.
Reporting for the 70, I'm Petty Officer Zachary Bell.
Pretty freaking hot.
In this week's 1-minute exposure, Petty Officer Timothy Hazel introduces us to a group of sailors who are the hands-on element for an aircraft launch, and explains to us how the thrill of the launch is never the same.
V2 is the hardest working V. You can ask any other Vs, they know. I know when I first started out, it was pretty crazy, to see that I was actually going to be launching jets and things like that. It never gets old. No matter how many times I shoot a jet, how many times I do a sweep and take tension on the bird, it never gets old. Because we all have our own style. So when you run wakeboard, you got your own style the way you do it. When we do holdback, and you just kind of want to show off. It's kind of the thing. Even though you're responsible for all that equipment, at that certain moment of when you're doing your job, people are watching you, so you kind of want to show off and be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Or this is how I do my thing. I just like what I do. I really do. It's fun. It's different. It's not something that I can do in the civilian world. It's not something that I can wake up and do every day unless we're out on deployment. So it's always exciting. There's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
Having a collateral duty is a common thing on the deck plates. Every shop is a community, and each citizen has a role to play. Seaman Matthew Harron introduces us to 4 sailors whose double duties include JP5 and saving lives.
When a bird lands on the flight deck, it's time for a few unsung heroes to shine. You wouldn't believe it, but the sailors responsible for keeping our aircraft in the air are some of the most junior on board.
I got here 2 days before we deployed, so fairly new.
Got here about 4 days before we took off.
But for half of this team of 4, this ain't their first rodeo.
I've been on board almost 2 or over 2 years. It's a real specific job, and we know how to do it to a T, so, I mean, everybody's on point.
Our division right now actually has a lot of newer people, and because I'm one of the more senior airmen, I'm actually the crew leader.
And while working with the same people every day can get sour, for Crew 2 in V4, these grapes stay fresh.
I work with a bunch of good guys. We know when to be serious, and we know how to have fun up there as well. We get along very well. Weber, he's the man. He gets the job done. He may be a UI, but he knows what he's doing. You would think he's been here for years. Red Daniels, he's also a great guy. He's pretty much a morale booster of the crew. Yeah, that noodle, she's eager to learn.
And there's no better way to learn than just to get out and do it. It's up to this gang of purple shirts to top off the tanks of any and all aircraft on the flight deck.
We'll run the hose out and got to ground it first, and then
hook up to the bird, get the information from the PC once again.
And it takes a couple different people to fuel the bird, so without teamwork, you don't really get anywhere on the flight deck.
It seems busy, but really, it goes by smooth.
Fueling up aircraft may be their primary concern, but in an emergency situation, ABFs on the flight deck are required to lift more than just a hose.
Our other key point in D4 is stretcher bearing. We train hard for that.
And it's pretty much got to be 4 to a basket, and there'll be 1 leader on it. And that leader will tell you when to reach down and pick up the basket, when to set it down.
And as the leader, Cumbo takes this part of the job very seriously.
But it's a very important job. We got to make sure they get where they need to be and that the patient's all right.
And even though Crew 2 has a tremendous responsibility, it's simply 1 gear turning in the machine we call the flight deck.
We're just a piece of, I guess, the big puzzle up there that everybody has to do their job, and it's nice to actually be up there and be hands-on and get stuff done instead of just learning out of a book or something like that. So.
No matter how trained or experienced a sailor is on the flight deck, when working with a crew, there's only one thing that matters: trust.
Oh, I know I can trust them. On a scale of 10, it's definitely a 10. I know if they get the job done, they're very responsible. They're responsible for their own actions. I know they have good integrity. We have a great crew.
Reporting for the 70, I'm Seaman Matthew Harron.
He once caught CVGE just to see what it felt like. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. Even his worst enemies feel the need to put him on their page of twos. He is the most squared away sailor on the ship.
I do not always deploy, but when I do, I prefer Carl Vinson. Stay salty, my friends.
Hey there, shipmates. I'm MC2 Stephen Hale, and this is Vinson Online. Over the next 2 minutes, we're going to show you how Vinson is keeping your family and friends involved and informed through our social media products. Last week, we passed 40,000 Facebook fans, and we continue to bring them a ton of product that includes daily uploads of photos from around the Vinson. We take pictures of a different division every day for your families to see. 2 weeks ago, we introduced our new informative webisode series, Vinson 101. Last Wednesday, Chaplain Greg Hazlitt showed us what a day is like in the life of a chaplain.
Hi, I'm Chaplain Hazlitt, and you're watching Vincent 101. One of the deck plating things I like to do is go, obviously, where there's large populations of sailors. So, chow halls are perfect.
Your families are also listening to podcasts. We post them to our blog, The Talon, and then we link them to our Facebook and Twitter accounts. That way your family can take a listen and at the same time see photos of a featured Vincent sailor. This week we featured ABH-3 Alexis LeBrake of Air Department's V-1 Division, and she talks about the chaos of parking a multi-million-dollar aircraft.
To me, it's controlled chaos. We stay busy up there. The pilots trust us. There's never really much of a dull moment. You got to keep all your home life off of the flight deck. You have to keep your mind straight, and you have to always be at the top of your game.
Also on The Talon, your friends and families will have a chance to read a post by some of our bloggers. This week, we feature a sailor who talks about her decision to join the Navy. Our blogs are anonymous, and we post at least 2 every week. Now, I'd recommend that you email your folks back home and have them check out the Vincent Ombudsman page. Have them go to www.vincentombudsman.org for more useful information, as well as interviews by some of your shipmates. We are also staying busy on Twitter. We currently have more than 8,000 followers of @CVN70. Here are a few status updates that were informative to everyone back home. And of course, we're always on Navy.mil, the Navy's flagship website loaded with video, imagery, and stories from around the fleet. As of January 14th, 330 photos from around the Vincent have been published, 20 of which were the top photo of the day. Not bad for only 7 weeks of work. This has been Vincent Online. We'll continue to bring you more imagery and more updates of what we're showing your friends and family from back home. Until next time, I'm MC2 Stephen Hill.
Usually the only things launched off an aircraft carrier are, well, aircraft. So it's nice to mix things up every once in a while and launch a thing or two at each other. Confused yet? This should clarify things.
For those of you who missed it, or those wondering what the commotion in the hangar bay was on Friday,
no rubber ball.
Well,
Number 6.
It was...
Who are we? Docs. Break it down. Then O-C-S-D-O-C-S. Come on. Docs. Docs.
your friendly neighborhood corpsman in search of a win Friday during the ship's dodgeball tournament.
The real Docs.
Real Docs right here.
We winning the championship tonight, baby. We're bringing that trophy to medical. That's us?
Yeah.
The real Docs took the stage.
Let's go, let's go. Who are we? Who are we?
The battle ensued. Balls were thrown. But...
Well, you know, we prepared well throughout the week. We had some technical difficulties when we got on the court, you know. We tried to execute our plan, but they got a monkey wrench to win it. We tried to give them what we had.
We got what we got. We gave what we got. But it wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough.
How'd it go playing against the Docs?
We didn't expect it, but we knew we could have taken them. That's why we're number 1. We're taking it all. We're as far as cargo.
And when we've been out to sea for 53 or so days, sometimes just throwing a ball at your shipmates can add a little excitement and brighten up your day.
Being away from family and all that, it can be a lot on people, and like bringing people together for events like this, big morale booster. Big morale.
And maybe next time the real Docs may find their tricks.
Give out shots to everybody on the the day before. Probably do a shot at. That'll probably be the best thing. Do a shot at.
Up your sleeve. Reporting for the 70, I'm Petty Officer Lowell Whitman.
Well, that's all for this edition of the 70. Until next time, I'm Petty Officer Zachary Bell.